Hello, welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream Vlog. I'm your host, Caroline Georges. Welcome today. So today I want to talk about kids and parenting. I went to go see the new Quentin Tarantino movie last night, and it was kind of all over the place. Even for Quentin Tarantino, it was a little all over the place. But the payoff at the end was very good. I really recommend it, and I'm probably going to go see it again. Anyways, but the good news is that I went to go see a movie. I love going to see movies. It's totally my happy place. I can just relax, shut off my phone, and just get away from things for a little while, and that really means a lot to me. And it's and it's like I get offended if a movie is bad. I get pissed off if a movie is bad. If I spend money to go see a movie and I just want to enjoy myself and just have a moment to myself, and the movie is shit, I get so pissed off. Like that's how I feel about it. And so, and so when my movie-going experience is like ruined, I hate when people take out their phones during the movie. I think that's so disrespectful. It's like, are you so fucking important, you bitch? And it's just, and by the way, when I say bitch, I'm not talking about women. Don't think I'm talking about women. I'm talking about both men and women. I think bitch is like, I think it's just, bitch means you're just a bitch, you're just being a bitch. If you're pulling out your phone during a movie, you're just being a fucking bitch, And so but that, wasn't the issue. The issue was, I couldn't believe this, but there was like an 8-year-old boy sitting behind me during this movie. I'm not even kidding. An 8-year-old boy. He was 8 years old. And he was, which, was uncomfortable. It's awkward. It's awkward being in a Quentin Tarantino movie, a movie that was very, very violent, a movie that had themes and discussions of, that just children 8-year-olds shouldn't have to deal with those things in their world yet, 8-year-olds shouldn't have those things on the planet yet, And I just, and this boy was just kicking my chair, and I asked his mom if he could stop, and I let her know that he was kicking my chair, and I asked her if he could stop, and she didn't do anything. She was just being an asshole. And I think like if you're the kind of person that like, is raising your children on Quentin Tarantino movies, then I don't think you're probably my father was a single dad, and I think he got fed up, and I think he got impatient, and I think if he wanted to see a rated R movie, or if he wanted to see an adult movie, and he had custody of me and my sister, I don't think that stopped him from seeing rated R movies. I will say that. And we went to go see Mars Attacks in theaters, and that was about the mid-1990s, so I was, really young, and I remember looking at my dad and just thinking, like, I'm too young to be here. What are you doing with me here? Why did you take me here? And the movie was PG-13 and it was pretty cartoonish and stuff, but it was scary. Like, I was scared. And I don't know, did that do anything to me? Like, is that an issue with me now? Did that fuck with my head when I was a little kid and now I'm different because of it? Because my dad was always really big on, like, movies that were realistic. He took us to see Schindler's List. He took us to see Amistad. He took us to see... and those movies were important, they're important movies. They have important lessons. They have important history, So I kind of get it, and when I taught film appreciation, I was very vigilant in screening. And I, made sure, most of the movies were too long to screen the full thing in the class anyway, and so there was plenty that I had to skip over. That wasn't even that bad, and so, and the girls that I taught were, 14, 15, 16, 17, kind of at an age range, like high school, they can understand, the Holocaust in high school, they can understand World War II in high school, they can understand slavery in high school, so so let's show them the Holocaust, show them World War II, show them slavery, It's real. It's the real world. They should be learning about those things in high school. I really stand by that. And again, I've talked about this in my vlog because I was fired from teaching film appreciation for screening clips in movies that were rated R. But I think that I did the right thing. I was fired for going against my own curriculum. But I don't think I did. I think my curriculum was to teach children, young girls, about life and about films and about art and how it can portray real things in an entertaining way that helps you learn. And those are the movies that they should be seeking out. And anyways, I just, that's the whole thing. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if that did anything to me, but I was really disturbed with this little 8-year-old boy sitting behind me. I'll tell you that. I was very uncomfortable. Because I mean, when I go see a movie that's a little graphic or a little scary, I always have my eyes closed a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I was like, whenever a scary part happened or whenever a tense scene happened or whenever, subject matter happened that was shocking and vulgar and something 8-year-old boys shouldn't be seeing, I kind of looked behind me to like check on the boy. Like I was just like, is he okay? Like, God, like, I mean, you just got somebody's teeth got kicked out, Is the little boy okay? I just like, is he fine? And it's just, and anyways, but going back to my days working at a daycare, it's very interesting. There was a little boy there who was there on scholarship. So a charity was funding his thing there, So we were so he was a little kid that we watched there, and the only thing that his parents needed to do was provide diapers, and his parents did not bring diapers once. And we used diapers brought by other parents or that were donated. And it was just, and so one day I saw this little boy being violent with a little girl. And the violence was totally learned. He had seen that violence at home. And he was bringing that violence to the daycare. So what he did was he slapped the girl across the face. Her head turned, and she would turn back in shock and look at him. And then he would slap her again, and the same thing. I pulled him off of her, and was just I was just screaming in this little boy's face, "You do not hit people. You do not hit people. That is wrong. What are you thinking? You do not hit people." And I wasn't screaming in the little boy's face, but I don't scream in children's faces. I just, but I was so angry though. I was so pissed. I was just at the entire situation, because I drove around once and I saw that little boy's parents standing outside of a fucking liquor store smoking cigarettes with a bunch of homeless people. They were just being bums. They weren't working. They weren't looking for a job. They weren't doing anything to be good parents. That little boy is going to grow up to be a menace into society. That little boy is going to grow up to go to jail, to be a burden on society. And I'm sorry, but it's just fuck you for standing outside of that liquor store smoking a cigarette. Your son needs you. Like, I don't, you hear like how, like, I remember hearing a girl talk about how she thinks that poor people should be sterilized and that poor people shouldn't have children and stuff. And I just think that's awful and disgusting. And just the notion of that and the premise of that is just is just Nazism and is just disgusting. And but at the same time, this little boy is going to grow up to go to jail, So, I mean, but just because people are poor doesn't mean they're bad parents, It's just, there are tons of shitty parents, Tons of shitty parents. My ex-boyfriend, who I really loved and I really cared about, I saw a little boy when I met him. He was a little boy. Because another thing I know about children and about growth and about people is that we wake up with expectations. My expectations when I wake up is that I'm going to have a cup of coffee, I'm going to watch YouTube, or I'm going to watch Netflix, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to just go about my day, right? Those are my expectations, and I have control over those expectations. I can wake up and pursue the what I expect to happen that day and make those things happen for myself. Children wake up with expectations too, but their expectations are completely dependent on their parents. So if a little boy or a little girl wakes up with the expectation of having breakfast, of having a hug, of being woken up gently, of going to school, of seeing their friends, and those things aren't fulfilled, I mean, what does that do? And the only people who are to blame are their parents. Then what does that do to that little boy or that little girl? And this man, he grew up wealthy. He grew up very, very wealthy. He was very financially supportive towards me. And money to him was nothing. It was green paper. It meant nothing to him. He had it, he didn't care. And, but he was neglected. His parents worked all the time. His dad wasn't at home. His parents were divorced. And his dad never saw him. And his mother worked, 16, 18-hour days. And this little boy woke up every day with the expectation of being loved and being loved by his parents and of having attention from his parents. Every day, this boy woke up with that expectation. And that expectation wasn't fulfilled. And he was really fucked up because of that for a really long time. He was really fucked up. In our relationship, I was the one taking care of him. I mean, he was taking care of me in the way that he could, but I was taking care of him. And it was like he needed a mom. It was like I was his girlfriend mom. It was what he needed. That was what he needed. And, but yeah, gosh, I just, I don't know. Kids need help. Kids really, really, really need help. There's so many volunteer programs. I haven't, since I've been stripping, and stripping has been my primary source of funding. I don't want to put parents in the position of a stripper being around their kids. If a parents asked me to babysit or anything like that, I would be delighted, but that would be for them to decide, and, but that's just how I feel, I don't know how I would feel, just knowing from what from the women I work with and stuff, I don't know how I would feel, having, those women taking care of some of those women, some of them, just honestly, just a few. Most of them I would completely trust with my children, because a lot of the women I work with are loving. I love their kids. Like, say what you will about them. They love their kids. They love their sons. They love their daughters. And they will do anything for them. They will suck a dick for their daughter. They will suck a dick to put food in their daughter's mouth. And that is just, I could cry. I'm so moved by that. I'm so moved by the dedication of parents who really love their kids and will do anything to support and love and cherish their children. There is this one woman at work, and I thought of reporting her to Child Protective Services. Honestly, it was sort of a pickle. I didn't really know what to do. She has a boyfriend who he works in cannabis, so he's very wealthy. But I don't think he's a good guy. I don't think he's somebody I think should be around girls. And the reason for that is her daughter, who I think is 14, smoked his weed. And so, when you like that whole thing where like your dad catches you smoking a cigarette, so he makes you smoke the entire pack. Well, guess what this son of a bitch did when he caught this 14-year-old girl smoking a little bit of weed? And so, you know, and Diamond came in, and she was very, you know, she was really freaked out about it too. I will say that. She was really upset about it. She was really upset that this man did that. And that's why I didn't report her, because she clearly was very angry with him. But at the same time, this man, you know, and the dynamic typically of strippers is that, you know, he was the head of the household. He was running things, you know? And so, I mean, how entitled do you have to be to make somebody else's kid smoke an eighth of weed, you know? How fucked up. Like, I mean, anyway, I can't. So that's why I didn't report it, because she seemed really genuinely upset and angry, and like she was, you know, she had a handle on things. But at the same time, she didn't break up with this man. They're still together. And he's still, you know, somewhat of a parent to her children. Do you think this woman is putting her children first? Do you think this woman is still putting her children first? Or do you think that there are really just some women that the man comes first and that's how it is? And that's kind of one of my worst fears, is that I fall in love with a man and I have children with a man who I love more than my children. That, and that if this, you know, if this man ends up being a bad guy and I love him more than my children, what would I do to my kids, you know, by being with somebody like that? And, you know, and I think about myself, and I think about the way I think about things, and just some of the issues I have, and just, you know, I know that maybe I am risking marrying an asshole. You know, I mean, I can be so blind. But how will I still see what I want to see and still be able to project my fantasies onto somebody when I have children? You know, is that still who I'll be and what I'll be doing while mothering kids? You know, like, ugh, it's scary. You have to love your kids as much as you have to love your kids more than you love yourself. And if you can't do that, at least just as much, you know. But then again, going back to that little boy, that little wife beater, you know, I mean, maybe his parents did love him more than they loved him themselves, because clearly they didn't give a shit about themselves. They didn't care about themselves. So maybe they did love their son more than they loved themselves, but I don't know. Anyways, that's my vlog for today. But anyways, like and subscribe and share, and it always helps. And thank you, and have a lively day. Bye.